And we are rolling. Looks like I'm looking right there. Hey guys, how's it going? It's your buddy Jake Dominguez back with another movie review. Now I know what you're thinking. And yes, I have seen Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you know that's pretty much what I've been waiting for this entire year. It's been the movie I've been anticipating most since I first watched Star Wars The Force Awakens on opening night of when that came out. You guys know what a huge fan of Rian Johnson I am, and you guys must be really interested to know my review of the movie. But I still have one more movie to review before I review Star Wars The Last Jedi. I've seen the movie twice now. I'm going to see it again in a few days. I wanted some time to kind of get my brain around the movie to really do a really good review of it. I'm going to do a spoiler-free review and later a spoiler-filled review. So don't worry, it is coming very soon. But if you've been watching my channel for the last little while, you know that recently I wanted to review all of Rian Johnson's movies before Star Wars The Last Jedi. Did a review of Brick, one of my favorites, The Brothers Bloom, and now I'm here to review Looper, the 2012, I believe it was, science fiction film from him. I wanted to release this video before I saw Star Wars The Last Jedi, this last Thursday night, but stuff got in the way. But you know what? It actually works out, because it gives me a few more days to think about the movie, then I can review it. And honestly, this is such a great movie that I'm totally fine with reviewing it. So, be patient, the review is coming. Let's talk about Looper. Now, I did not see this movie when it came out in movie theaters that year. I actually saw it when it was on home video. I remember I rented it immediately when it came out on home video. By that point, in fact, this was the very first movie by Rian Johnson I think I had seen from this at first. This is the first one I've ever seen. I listened to a few podcasts and stuff with him on it, but this was the very first feature film of his that I actually watched. After this, I saw Brothers Bloom, and much later, it took me to go see Brick, unfortunately, because I really love that film. And I gotta say, thank goodness I rented this movie immediately, because it blew my mind. Looper is one of those movies that the less you know going into it, that's the better off you can be. This movie's already been out for a few years, so even though it's unnecessary, I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, like I always do. But just know that I think Looper is one of the best science fiction films in recent years, maybe ever made. I mean, it's without a doubt one of the best time travel movies ever made. This film is so original, so well directed, so well edited, so well directed. Heck, it's the same thing I've been saying for my last two reviews of Rian Johnson movies. He's a great filmmaker, and it shows here. Looper tells the story of way into the future. Way into the future. It is pretty much impossible for the mob to kill somebody without being caught right away, without being tracked right away. Because of this, what they do to handle people who they need to be killed or assassinated or whatever is that they send them to the past, and we're kind of in the distant future. And when they are sent to the past, they are killed by these hitmen who are hired just to shoot them immediately when they go back in time to the present day or whatever, even though it takes place in the future. You still with me? It's a little confusing. But one of these guys, these hitmen, is named Joe, and he's good at his job. But eventually he knows that one day, he's going to have to kill himself. In the future, the way they handle these hitmen and kind of end their loop is that when they get older, they send them back in time so that that person can kill him. Your reward for that is you get even more money, and you eventually get to retire and all that, blah, blah, blah. And it's quite a moral conundrum. And this movie is full of those. One day, that happens to Joe, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm pretty sure his name is Joe. Now, I'm second-guessing myself, but I think that's the character's name. And things go crazy. Yeah, pretty confusing plot, right? It's even harder for me to explain it. This plot is insane. But this screenplay is so brilliantly written. you gotta admire it. This is one of those screenplays that is great for writers who want to be writers or even to study because this screenplay is so written. Like, have you ever done that? Actually read a script itself? I know the script for Looper is online somewhere. Go read it after you see the movie because it's so well done. You could tell that Rian Johnson has taken a few influences from other things like The Terminator, a little bit of Witness, which is something he's talked about a lot, and even a little bit of Akira. But even those little influences come together to make something completely original. We've seen a lot of time travel movies. You ain't never seen anything like Looper. This movie is so original, so creative, and it is so brilliantly done. Steve Yedlin, who's the director of photography in the last two films I reviewed for Brick and Brothers Bloom, and yes, for Star Wars The Last Jedi as well. I mean, these two work so well together. This is a beautifully shot movie, and all the performances are fantastic. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Joe, young Joe, and he is really wonderful in this movie. In this film, he has a little bit of makeup on, though, to play because he's playing the younger version of older Joe, played by Bruce Willis. These two are so great in this movie. I mean, Bruce Willis acts in a lot of movies now, but this is hands down his best role in, like, recent years. It's right up there with John McClane in Die Hard, or David Dunn in Unbreakable, or his work in something like 12 Monkeys, but you can maybe see a little influence in this movie as well. I mean, it's definitely here in Looper. I mean, he's so good in this movie. And so is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was a huge fan of him when this movie came out, because it was the same year, I believe, The Dark Knight Rises came out, and I really loved 500 Days of Summer and all these other movies he was in. Man, is he good in this movie. Emily Blunt's in this movie, and she's excellent. Like, she plays completely against type as this... I don't want to give it away, you'll just have to see it. But she is awesome. Paul Dano was in this movie. Is it Dano or Dano? You know, he's like in There Will Be Blood and like Little Miss Sunshine and a bunch of movies. He's always in independent movies, Swiss Army Man. I'm blanking on how you pronounce his last name. He's a great actor. I'm sorry, sir, on the millionth of a chance you actually watch this video. But man, he's in this movie. He's really good. Jeff Daniels is really good. The cast is excellent. Really, there's not much to say about Looper other than just praising it the whole time because of how good it is. It is original, and it asks serious questions about, you know, morality in general. And it's hard to get into those that don't want to give it away. But the theme in Looper that is so powerful to me is that theme of the choices we make that will affect others in the future. The ending of this movie, when I first saw it, blew me away. I couldn't even do anything after watching it for the first time. I sat down on my couch, stunned, just watching the credits. I was just like, I didn't see it coming, and I couldn't believe it. And to be honest, I didn't really like it at first. But now I love it. This is so... it's such a powerful ending, and it has a lot of really great stuff in it. This is just an absolutely wonderful movie. Ram Bergman produced this as well. Again, he's on Star Wars as well as producer. All these people here who were later into Star Wars The Last Jedi, and you can tell why they wanted this guy to go direct Star Wars. The Looper is a creative movie. It's an original movie. As far as flaws with the film, I would say there's one scene in particular which I did find a little bit unnecessary. It's just one scene that has a little bit of nudity in it, and I just don't think that scene is too necessary for the movie. It's such a great script of such great pacing and everything. For me, that one scene, I don't know, it's a little too on the nose. Now, Rian Johnson talks about that scene in the audio commentary, which is excellent. He did with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Emily Blunt, and I understand his reasoning. I don't know, that scene in general, again, no spoilers, it's hard, I don't want to do that, but I don't know, it just never really did it for me. Another criticism I have is that bothered me when I first saw it, but not as much now, is some of those other influences. Like I said, I'm just going to ram this into the ground. Looper's so original that what it takes, but there are a few little things that reminded me of other things, but not even one thing, The Terminator. That's really what it is. When I first saw it, I was a little bothered by that, like, oh, you're just doing that. But really, it's so its own thing, you can't even really compare it to The Terminator. And it gets into the issues with it so much better than The Terminator, not really when you think about it. And that's pretty much it. Looper is one of the best science fiction films probably ever made. It's definitely got a lot of neo-noir feel to it, which I love. This movie is amazing. I'm going to give Looper an A. You gotta check out Looper if you haven't seen it. Well, that's my review of Looper. This movie's awesome. Guys, I love Rian Johnson. Brick is excellent. Brothers Bloom is really great. Looper is excellent. He's just so talented. I absolutely love his few episodes that he directed for Breaking Bad. Now, as for my opinion of Star Wars The Last Jedi, you'll hear it very soon in a video coming up real soon. I promise, so stay tuned for that. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, for watching my series of reviews. Please look forward to my review of Star Wars The Last Jedi coming up soon. Thank you so much for watching. And never forget, I'm your friend. I'm always going to be there for you. Thank you so much for being my friend. You guys are the best, and I will see you next time.